The frozen edges of our planet have been sealing secrets for thousands, sometimes millions of years. These places don't just preserve history, they trap it, freeze it, and wait for someone to stumble across it. Over the last few years, people have found some seriously wild things. We're talking about pyramids where no pyramids should be, alien-looking eggs buried under the ice, and bodies that look like they died yesterday but didn't. These aren't myths, they're real. Here are 15 unbelievable things found in frozen wastelands that will blow your little mind. Let's start off with number 15. The alien eggs of Siberia. Near the banks of a frozen lake in Siberia, researchers came across something that didn't belong. It wasn't metal. It wasn't a fossil. It looked like eggs, but not any kind scientists had ever seen. Dozens of oval-shaped sacs, encased in ice, completely intact, with leathery exteriors and strange internal structures. They weren't animals, and they weren't plants. Some even thought they weren't from here at all. The immediate theory was unknown amphibians or reptiles, but nothing local fit the bill. No known DNA, no matches. The eggs remained sealed, studied under tight security, while rumors swirled, from alien spores to military experiments to undiscovered species lurking in the permafrost. They haven't hatched, not yet. But some scientists believe they're biological time bombs, ancient life waiting for a temperature rise. Whether they're Earth-born or not, their presence throws a shadow on the line between science and science fiction. The ice preserved them pretty perfectly. But what's inside? Well, it might not be friendly. Number 14. 2 mummies in Zeleny Yar. In 2017, near Salakard in Russia's Arctic north, archaeologists uncovered 2 mummies from a burial site known as Zeleny Yar, one adult woman and an infant. Their remains, entombed nearly 900 years ago, belonged to a forgotten medieval culture whose customs remain largely unknown. What struck researchers wasn't just the burial, it was the condition. The woman's body had long decayed, but her head remained startlingly preserved. Hair, lashes, and facial contours remained intact, but the skin had taken on a haunting green tint from copper artifacts buried with her. That metal, likely ceremonial, had not only preserved her features but also hinted at ritual significance or elevated status. She remains the only woman found among dozens of male burials at the site, sparking questions about her role in a society that left almost nothing behind. Beside her lay the child, bundled and buried with similar care. No names, no inscriptions, just 2 strangers from a vanished world, frozen in time and silence, buried with meaning we're only starting to understand. Number 13. Woolly rhino. In the frozen depths of northeastern Siberia, a young woolly rhinoceros emerged from the permafrost in the Abiski district. This wasn't just another Ice Age relic. The body, dating back up to 50,000 years, was astonishingly intact. Internal organs, soft tissue, even parts of the nasal horn survived the cold's embrace. That horn, usually the first to decompose, still showed signs of wear, likely from scraping the ground for food. Researchers estimate the animal was only 3 or 4 years old when it died, possibly drowning during a seasonal melt. Valery Plotnikov from the Russian Academy of Sciences noted how rare it is to find remains in this condition. The preservation even revealed digestive contents and microscopic tissues, unheard of in most Ice Age finds. This discovery offered more than just a glimpse into a long-dead species. It handed scientists a near-complete biological blueprint of an animal that once roamed beside early humans, a creature both massive and now extinct, buried in silence until the Earth chose to reveal it. Number 12. The Pyramids of Antarctica. In Antarctica, satellite images captured what looked unmistakably like pyramids, sharp, angular structures poking through the ice where no ancient civilization was supposed to be. The images surfaced around 2013 and immediately sparked chaos online. 3 geometric formations in close proximity, each shaped like a perfect pyramid, stand in defiance of the elements. Some scientists shrugged them off as nunataks, mountain peaks sticking out of glaciers. But others weren't so quick to dismiss it. The placement, the symmetry, the resemblance to ancient pyramids in Egypt and Mesoamerica, too precise, too clean. If real, this could mean one of two things: a lost civilization once thrived in what is now a polar wasteland, or someone had been there long before humans ever claimed the land. Either way, no formal expedition has dug beneath the ice. The structures remain locked in frost, stirring questions that science hasn't touched. Are they just rocks, or proof that Antarctica's past is colder, older, and far more complicated than we think? Number 11. The ancient forest under Mendenhall Glacier. As the Mendenhall Glacier near Juneau, Alaska continues its slow retreat, it's been revealing something truly unexpected: an ancient forest still rooted in place after over 1,000 years beneath the ice. Not fossilized, not petrified. Real tree stumps, some upright, bark intact, branches frozen mid-reach, preserved under gravel and ice. These remnants never had a chance to decay. They simply froze, quietly waiting for the melt. Scientists estimate the forest once covered a vast 37-square-mile area, lush with vegetation, animals, and rivers before the glacier swallowed it. Now, as warming accelerates, more of the landscape is being unveiled. What's most haunting isn't just the preservation, it's the clarity. These aren't fragments, they're time capsules. The trees still tell the direction of prevailing winds. The soil still holds traces of ancient insects. It's not just a forest, it's an untouched chapter of Earth's history, written in wood and bark instead of stone. No mythology, no guesses, it's just Mama Nature. Number 10. Otzi, the Iceman. This guy is world famous. In 1991, two hikers wandering through the Ötztal Alps thought they'd found a body from a recent tragedy. They were off by about 5,300 years. The man they found, half buried in the ice near the Austrian-Italian border, had been there since the Copper Age. Later named Ötzi, he wasn't just some unlucky traveler. His death was violent. An arrow lodged in his shoulder, blood loss, trauma. Murder, plain and simple, but that was just the start. Alongside him were tools, clothing, and a copper axe forged from nearly pure metal, something shockingly advanced for his time. His last meal: grains, meat, possibly ibex. His hands showed signs of combat. Tattoos ran along pressure points on his joints. Maybe early acupuncture. His preserved body became a roadmap to a world we barely understood. Scientists have studied everything: his stomach contents, DNA, even the bacteria on his skin. Ötzi is more than a corpse in a glacier. He's a direct line to a time when survival was brutal, and every scar told a story. Number 9. Fish frozen in a wall of ice. In March 2015, photographer Kelly Preheim captured a moment that felt more like a paused horror scene than a natural phenomenon. Dozens of fish, frozen mid-swim in a thick wall of ice at South Dakota's Lake Andes. The fish weren't scattered at random. They were suspended in various directions, as if caught in the act, flash frozen by something more violent than winter. But later it turns out the real story was more tragic than cinematic. A prolonged drought had dropped the lake's water level, severely depleting oxygen. Fish began to die off, and before their bodies could settle or decay, a deep freeze rolled in. The ice formed fast, trapping them right where they floated. The image went viral, not because of a rare species or strange anatomy, but because it froze a moment of death with a clarity that felt unnatural. It was a still life of ecological collapse. It's not fanfare and not a big mystery. It's just nature's quiet brutality, captured in crystal clear ice, unnoticed until someone happened to look down. Number 8. Antarctic scale worm. Miles beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, at a depth of nearly 700 meters, a U.S. expedition stumbled on something so alien it didn't feel real. A scale worm, 20 centimeters long with a transparent, retractable jaw lined with bristle-like teeth. It didn't look like something that should exist on Earth, let alone in the frigid, lightless waters of Antarctica. Yet there it was, pulsing and shifting, a product of one of the harshest ecosystems on the planet. This wasn't just another deep-sea oddity, it was a brand new species, never documented and completely unlike its distant relatives. Its body shimmered with iridescent plates, some of which scientists believe might serve unknown functions, maybe armor, maybe camouflage, maybe something else entirely. Its existence raised questions far beyond taxonomy. What else is down there thriving in the black, untouched corners of the planet? This worm wasn't just a curiosity, it was a reminder. Life is still rewriting its own rulebook in places humans barely understand and probably never will. Number 7. Alien eggs on Utah Lake. Back in 2013, Jason Nelson and a friend were walking across Utah Lake during winter when they noticed something strange: circular patterns across the frozen surface, lined with dozens of smaller holes. They leaned in closer and saw translucent, jelly-like blobs oozing up through the cracks. These odd formations weren't fish eggs, and they didn't resemble anything local wildlife might leave behind. The blobs looked like something out of a science fiction film, smooth, squishy, and arranged in clusters that made people immediately think alien. Photos of the scene quickly spread, inviting speculation that ranged from fungal growth to undiscovered aquatic organisms, and of course, extraterrestrial activity. To this day, the so-called alien eggs haven't been properly identified. No lab reports, no follow-up studies, just some haunting photos and a lot of questions. Whether it was a weird natural phenomenon or something else entirely, that day on the frozen lake left more than just an eerie impression. It left an open file that no one has bothered to close. Number 6. The Children of the Inca. In 1999, high in the Andes on Mount Lulayaco, where Argentina kisses Chile, archaeologists unearthed the scene that froze time. Inside an ancient tomb, sealed by centuries of ice, lay 3 Incan children sacrificed over 500 years ago. This wasn't some grand burial for nobles or warriors, it was ritual. A boy, a girl, and a teenage girl later named La Doncella, the maiden, were left to die alone in the cold. Their diets had been altered before the sacrifice, heavily dosed with coca leaves and chicha, a fermented corn beer. Enough to keep them sedated. Enough to keep them quiet. Their bodies weren't just intact, they were flawless. Skin, hair, even expressions on their faces locked in an unnatural peace. These weren't mummies in the traditional sense. They were frozen children, perfectly preserved victims of belief, ritual, and power. Today, they don't just serve as chilling relics of the Inca Empire, but as a painful reminder of how far devotion can go when it's wrapped in silence and snow. Number 5. Yucca the Mammoth. In the remote chills of Siberia, near the Laptev Sea, locals came across something that shouldn't have been so lifelike. It was 2010, and what they found was the mummified body of a juvenile woolly mammoth. Not a skeleton, a mammoth, with skin, flesh, and light brown hair still clinging to its form. Yucca, as she was later called, was only around 6 to 8 years old at death. But even at that age, she weighed in at 5 tons. The detail was unreal. Her face, her trunk, even signs of injuries that hinted at predator attacks. Scientists believe both humans and animals may have had a hand in her death, making her not just a specimen but also possible proof of Ice Age hunting practices. Yucca became one of the best preserved mammoths ever discovered. Today, she's displayed in Moscow, but the unease lingers. Looking at her is like being stared back at by the past itself, one that's cold, ancient, and not entirely quiet. Number 4. Martian meteorite. On a frozen plain in Antarctica in December 1984, a team from the ANSMET program stumbled across a rock. Nothing special at first glance. But inside that chunk of stone, later named ALH 84001, was a story that spanned billions of years and stretched all the way to Mars. It didn't originate on Earth. This meteorite had formed on the red planet over 4 billion years ago, flung into space by some violent impact, and hurled through the void until it crashed into Antarctica. In 1996, everything changed. Researchers claimed they had found fossil-like formations of ancient Martian bacteria inside. The headlines went wild. Life on Mars, maybe not now but once. The scientific community didn't fully agree, and the debate over those microstructures still lingers today. But regardless of the biology, ALH 84001 is a relic of another world. It holds within it the oldest known Martian rock, a fragment of a distant planet preserved by Earth's coldest continent. It's solid proof that even Mars leaves footprints here, if you're paying attention. Number 3. Ancient bacteria in Alaskan ice. In 2005, buried beneath layers of permafrost in Alaska's Arctic, scientists extracted something that had no business waking up but did. Trapped for roughly 32,000 years, the frozen bacteria, once revived, began swimming as if no time had passed. This wasn't just a freak occurrence. These extremophiles, organisms adapted to survive in brutal conditions, weren't merely alive, they were active. Named Carnobacterium pleistocenium, they're the first fully documented lifeforms reanimated after being frozen for such a staggering amount of time. And they didn't just twitch in a lab dish, they responded to stimulation and replicated. For astrobiologists, this was more than a fascinating revival. It proved that life can pause for millennia and pick up where it left off, suggesting that dormant life could exist on Mars, Europa, or even deeper into the cosmos. But it also raised alarms. If ancient bacteria can come back, what else might be locked in melting ice? This wasn't a science fiction headline. It was a living fact, moving again under a microscope. Number 2. Mummified pup dogor. Near the Indigirka River in Siberia, 2018 brought an unexpected discovery, an Ice Age pup, perfectly preserved down to his tiny milk teeth. Estimated to be around 18,000 years old, the young animal was named Dogor, meaning friend in the Yakut language. Scientists were stunned not just by the condition, fur, nose, whiskers, even eyelashes intact, but by what his DNA revealed, nothing conclusive. Dogor was not quite a dog, not exactly a wolf. Instead, he might be something older, a genetic bridge between both. His short life ended young, likely just a few weeks in, but in death, he became one of the best preserved prehistoric canines ever found. Researchers are still working to place him on the canine evolutionary tree, hoping he holds answers about the early domestication of dogs. Dogor isn't just an Ice Age puppy. He's a fossilized question left behind before humans had fully befriended the creatures that would one day guard their homes and sleep at their feet. What do you think about it? Let us know. Number 1. The 3 from the Franklin Expedition. In 1845, the Franklin expedition set off to chart the Northwest Passage and vanished into Arctic oblivion. Decades passed with no clear answer, but in 1984, on Beechey Island in Nunavut, the ice gave up 3 of its secrets. John Torrington, William Brain, and John Hartnell, buried not long after the mission began, were found in permafrost coffins, faces contorted, eyes still open. It was the stuff of nightmares. Their skin was pale and waxy, eerily intact, blackened by frostbite, eyelashes still visible. The cold had locked their agony in place. Autopsies showed signs of lead poisoning, possibly from tinned food. Starvation, exposure, scurvy, the works. These men didn't just die, they unraveled slowly in the cold. Today, their bodies offer more than just a grim history lesson. They're forensic time machines, exposing the brutal price of ambition in an age when exploration meant gambling your life for a map. The Franklin expedition didn't just get lost, it was consumed by the very wasteland it tried to conquer. If you've enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.